Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at creating the sound for a coffee shop promo. A friend had done a coffee shop promo and I was wanting some experience with sound design, so I asked if I could use it as a practice project and record some Foley and do stuff for it. So he graciously let me use it. So yeah, let's learn some lessons from one of my first videos. Dang it! I didn't know what to say after that. So I cobbled together a Foley setup in like this little kitchenette, turn off the fridge, and hung up blankets, clamped them up to the cabinets, had memory foam in there trying to kind of make it not be echoey, and was using my 416, and then that was going into a task cam that I was using the USB for power. So the only way to go in was I just did like a headphone out in aux into my computer. Anyways, quite the setup. Using these like concrete blocks for the footsteps, but those have more resonance with it. Yeah, it was a very not high-end setup, but it was a fun practice project and kind of whet my appetite for recording Foley. So yeah, let's take a look at some of the stuff here. I have like the footsteps are up in this area. Footsteps are up here, and then I have some of the cloth stuff. The organization is not great. It's better than some of my previous projects, but it's definitely some of the sound design creeped in, and so I had to, bypass some of my plugins I had on here. Have some more of the sound design aspect is down in this area. We have the roaster is down here, backgrounds, and then the music track here. So I did route some stuff on this one, which I hadn't really dove into doing much of that yet. So for this, I had just like an EQ that's rolling off a lot of the lows, boosting a little bit here, cutting off. And then I did have some reverb that I used for some of the later stuff back in this, once they're in the shop and a lot of this bag stuff. I did add some creaks here coming off this porch because I just had like a wood board that I was using and it didn't have the creak aspect to it that I wanted. And so I added some of these creaks here. And then I had my, concrete faked asphalt sounds for all the footsteps. Recorded some of the bag in cloth since he had a leather bag, I wanted that nice creaky sound in there. So then we have the door down in this area. There was no bell on the door, but it sounded nice, and so I added it in there. Nobody said I had to be true to reality here. And then we come down to the roaster. Some flaming stuff to start. And then clothes dryer. So for the roaster, I wasn't exactly sure how the roaster would sound in real life. So I did some research, looked up some YouTube stuff, trying to figure out what it would sound like. I ended up landing using a washing machine, a little bit of fire flame sound, even though you probably wouldn't really hear that. And then for the beans rolling around inside, I got a metal pot lid and a metal bowl and corn kernels and put it together and spun it around. and then added some EQ as well. So here's what that sounds like. Without the EQ. It's really trying to get it to sound inside of the container. For backgrounds, I have the birds here at the beginning and then some of the car bys as well. It's early morning, so it's not super busy. And then I did do some EQ to make it sound like it's outside. So these birds were, the sound effects that I had for them had a lot of hiss in them. And so it didn't really make much sense being, when you're inside hearing it, definitely felt like you were outside. So you can hear that. It's with the EQ off. And then put the EQ on. Tones it down a lot. I remember having some difficulty, like this was kind of the first time mixing more of a whole project. And so be like, how do you make birds sound outside? Well, they're pretty specific frequencies, so you can't duck them too much or else it just disappears. So you're trying to kind of mute them a little bit. So it kind of worked out there in the end. So for Foley, being able to put it in a space with the reverb really helps. Like sometimes you want to hear the really close, sounding Foley, but being able to put it in a space helps sell it a lot more. Like if you hear this stuff here without the reverb, it sounds way too close. But if you do it with the reverb on, just sells that space a lot better. So some lessons looking back on this project is I have a hard time starting projects or doing things when I feel like I don't have the experience or the gear. So taking that step and just being like, hey, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to learn, even though I know it's not going to be the greatest, but you kind of got to get past that fear of failure to progress, well, honestly, anywhere in life. So whether it's taking a project like this or resound designing like your favorite scene from a movie or something, you can learn a lot by just doing it. And this really helped spark even more interest in me, like, oh, wow, I really do love sound design. So it was take the little stuff. Don't be afraid of the free projects. This one didn't even get used. This was just me practicing and doing stuff, and a few people saw it. But don't be afraid to go out and try and get started, even if you don't have everything. Hope you all enjoyed a little behind the scenes look at creating the sound for a coffee promo, and see you in the next one. Shoo, clink. Blub, 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 blub.